Hi, RLA Jack here with episode 4 of my MATLAB Basics series. And in this episode, I'm going to try and figure out how do I figure out the number of combinations, or the number of ways you can pick a certain number of elements from a set out of a larger set using MATLAB. So there's this idea of a combination, and I will just show you what it is on Wikipedia. Just give you a little bit of an idea. And there are plenty of tutorial knowledge. So a way of selecting items from a collection such that the order does not matter, and you're selecting a certain number of items without replacement. That's really all you ought to know. There's some more complicated stuff, but it's very very simple. And you can use this formula, which just says you're going to pick a certain number of things out of a set. So like you have n choices for your first pick, n minus 1 for your second, so on, all the way until you've picked k choices. So n choose k, and then there are actually certain ways to order them. So within that set, there are k ways to order the first one, or pick the first one in the ordering, and then k minus 1 to pick the second, and so on, so that you have basically this product that is sort of the number of ways you could have ordered that same set, so the number of like duplicates you have. And if you divide them, you get the number of unique ways. And there's this nice little thing called a factorial that you might read about. It's just a product of all numbers up to that number. It actually makes this combination idea really concise. So let's just say that I am sort of lazy and I do not want to fully write a function that computes combinations for me. So I might say, okay, I bet the odds of MATLAB having a function completely devoted to computing combinations is pretty low, so I'm going to try and find maybe a way to do factorials in MATLAB. I might do Google, and I don't really suggest just searching the MATLAB website, since it's not really like its AI isn't that smart on getting you what you want. Google is by far the best way to get what you want when trying to get MATLAB help. And there's just a function in MATLAB called factorial, surely enough, and it will just take an input and it will return an output. So it should be something real boring like that. So this is a similar looking type function to your exp, your sine, cosine, log from last video. So fortunately we know how to use this function. Also, this little 10 exclamation point. Exclamation point just says factorial. Forgot to mention that sort of. So if I just do factorial of 3, which is equal to 3 times 2 times 1, and there you go, it's 6. So say I want to write a quick little function, and I'm just going to call it myComb. For my combination, I will stick it in. I will do function say R combinations, myComb of say we have n total objects and k other objects. We can just use that little fun factorial equation from Wikipedia, which I happen to remember to be, it is factorial of n over factorial of n minus k times factorial of k. We're going to set this to our output variable r, and you would have to put a header, but I don't want to bore you with another one of those. So if I now call my com in the command window, and I want to know how many ways can I pick three things, or out of 5 objects, pick 3 things, it will tell me there are 10 ways, which is of course correct. But say I didn't even want to go through all that. Is there a way to do combinations in MATLAB? And you may just start Googling without really there being a solution. So if you go combination MATLAB, then it'll actually give you a function called nChooseK. And this is the function that we actually use. So surely enough, it gives you out of n things, if you pick k things, so like it's the same inputs, same outputs as the function we just wrote, and it actually will always agree. So if you do nChooseK of 5, 3, it'll also give you 10. So before you write something up, before you assume there's a complicated solution, always try and look for that simple solution by Googling on MATLAB. And it turns out there are often simple solutions. So let's say I have an even more complicated problem. Like let's say I want to remove all spaces in strings. So I might not even know where to start with doing this. I might write a code that iterates through each letter of a string. If it's not a space, it adds it to some other string, which a string is just a series of characters, which are like letters or things you can type on a keyboard, like minus or plus or space or the F key or other stuff, percent signs, within quotes, of course. So if I can go look and I'm like remove spaces in string MATLAB. I just ask MATLAB, how do you remove it? Surely enough, on the MathWorks forum, there is a really there's a thread. Someone's already wanted to do it. This guy wants to remove functions and spaces, but we might look down here. And surely enough, there already is a pre-built solution. Turns out you can actually do just this single space within this, because he wants to remove the comma and the period and the colon and all that too. But this might not even be what we want. You could also try something like this, whatever this is. Okay, so there's an answer, and here's another solution someone came up with. So Googling and then looking at MATLAB answers threads from mathworks.com is really nice and useful. There's actually, I think you can use the stirrup command, so like stirrup my string, and you can replace the space with an empty string. I think it'll do that. This is the way that I immediately thought of solving the problem from my experiences, because a lot of this other code that people write, while it might be more efficient, it's not something I've had to do before. But when you don't know how to do something in MATLAB, and of course the assignment is not pledged, the first thing I would always do is Google the question. Google knows best when it comes to finding you what you want, because there's a whole team of people at Google trying to find you what you want. Okay, so that's it for this video. And I think that it's also it for my very basics. Next time I come back, I will be talking about matrices and about program flow, which are respectively ways to store multiple numbers and then ways to make your program do or function do different things with different cases. Okay guys, bye.